Hello golf nerds and people of the internet. Welcome back to the Club Golfer and my journey to improve my golf as a keen but very ungifted golfer. The last two videos were 9-hole challenges at my local club where there are two courses and the Kier Course that I played is the more forgiving of the two. Something that I have been using to try and improve my golf is some statistical analysis to try and figure out where my strengths and weaknesses are. This is using the Arccos technology. You can see here from their marketing that they claim to knock on average about 5 strokes off your handicap. You can see on the website here it says Arccos Caddy is golf's first artificial intelligence platform. The award-winning Arccos Caddy app seamlessly syncs with Arccos Caddy sensors to provide golfers with automatic shot tracking, smart distance, club averages, AI-powered GPS rangefinder, strokes gained, analytics and caddy advice. So I've actually got the grips that all my clubs have a grip with a sensor built into it, so all I have to do is hit the ball and the app picks up the shot. Works most of the time pretty well. Back to the strokes gained concept, and I want to get a little bit geeky here. What is strokes gained? Well, it's a concept that was initially developed for the PGA Tour using shot link data that came into being around 2007, and it compared players' performance, so one player on the PGA Tour versus the rest of the field, and it was able to isolate individual aspects of the game, and it went much further than the old greens and regulation statistics like that. Strokes gained allows you to understand the quality of any shot in the round, and then it allows for an accurate assessment of that golfer's strengths and weaknesses, so you can focus your practice on lessons, or try some new kit in certain areas. So if you're not driving very well, statistically you could maybe try a new driver or go to the driving range and try and improve that, or likewise with putting, hit the putting green, try a new putter, that type of thing. So my putting's been really poor since the start of the season, so that's something that showed up in the statistics, a lot of 3 putts, so I've been particularly focused on the lag putting. Now showing you the stats from the 18 holes that made up the last 2 videos. This is the home page for the round, which shows the hole by hole scoring at the top using squares for bogeys, dashes for pars and double squares for double bogeys. I don't know what the sign is for birdies, unfortunately I did not have any. So strokes gained I've selected is a comparison against your average 10 handicap golfer, and you can change which handicapper you want to be compared against or which average. I'm currently a 15 handicapper, so I've selected 10 as a kind of aspirational target. So against this comparison I'm plus 3.8. So overall I would play this course in plus 3.8, so 3.8 strokes better than your handicapper according to Arccos. Now before the handicap police get me, this was one of my better rounds, and the course is pretty forgiving, doesn't punish wayward long drives, which is probably the thing that pushes my score up the most. Within that breakdown of the 3.8 is the interesting bit. So I was 4 strokes better than the average 10 handicapper for approach play. The driving in the short game, they're about average for a 10 handicapper, and the putting I lost half a stroke. So the first thing I'm seeing is my putting still needs work. At the top of the page you'll see the individual disciplines, so driving, approach play, short game, putting. So on the driving, first off, it's telling me that although I gained 0.3 of a stroke, actually versus my last 10 rounds I was 0.2 of a stroke down. On the distance versus accuracy, it's telling me that I picked up 2.5 strokes given the distance that I hit it, but I've lost 1.2 strokes because of the accuracy, so not hitting the fairway, and I've lost a stroke. This is all versus a 10 handicapper because of a penalty shot. As we scroll down the app further, you can see it gives you some information on distance, so 250 yards average distance, 305 yards was the longest drive, and it also gives information about driving accuracy. So interestingly, I'm hitting at 43% left, which never used to be the case, as I used to have a big push cut, so the right hand misses were more. and then I hit the fairway 29% of the time and gained 1.2 strokes for hitting the fairway. It also gives you information on strokes gained by the driving hole length, so 0 to 350, etc., and on the driving hole by the shape of the hole. So that round my approach play was pretty good, and you can see the breakdown here. I gained about 2 strokes on the 50 to 100 yard shots. It provides the strokes gained by the terrain that you're on, so I was in the rough a fair bit, so I gained 3.3 shots on a 10 handicapper golfer in this round from the rough. For the chipping, I can learn from this that 0 to 25 yards not so good, so maybe have a little chip around and try and improve that. On sand accuracy, I got up and down 0% at the time, and it says here that 10 handicapper gets up and down 21% of the time from the sand. Putting. This has been poor recently, and it says that even though I've lost 0.5 strokes on your putts, I've actually improved 3 strokes compared to my recent 10 rounds average being 3.5 strokes down on average. So that has been a big improvement, especially the lag putting. That was a run through of the Arccos strokes gained analytics. Hopefully that has been interesting, maybe not interesting, but useful to somebody in the world, and just worth looking at it for me to try and figure out what I can improve upon to try and get down to eventually to single figures. Here's hoping.